Welcome to our drive-in theater.
All right, I would like to introduce Richard Franklin Blalock. He is an artist extraordinaire who specializes in somewhat realistic portraits of monsters, particularly famous monsters, and also zombies and other characters from The Walking Dead. Of course, he's not limited to the fantastic, but that's sort of where his heart is, at least these days.
And this is David Walker, English teacher extraordinaire at Columbia Central High School, who is also known as the Rick James of English.
That's right.
Across from me is the amazingly talented writer and who has also written book reviews, stories, the amazingly talented Dave Goode, ladies and gentlemen, from New York City. Woo!
Just like the salsa.
Exactly.
And of course from me is my good buddy Vance Capley, who has done wonderful illustrations for my comic book characters, Dr. Judo, the Golden Adonis, the list goes on. Vance is just a fantastic artist who should be working for Marvel or DC if those guys had any sense.
I appreciate that.
Here,
What was the
here.
name of that book again?
Judo Comics?
Where can I get that at?
Lulu.com.
They can't see it, but it's here.
How do you spell Lulu?
LULU.com.
.com.
That's
There you
right.
go.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the first movie that scared us. And it's going to get kind of weird here. So, you know, sit back, eat your popcorn or whatever you're doing while you're listening to this. If you're driving, don't eat popcorn. It can be dangerous. Gentlemen?
Does anybody want to start off?
That's what I'm saying. I'll start because mine's lame. You know what it is. When I was a little boy, we lived out in the country. And we had just moved to this house. And this house is like near a pond. And it's like way out in the middle of the boondocks, okay? And Channel 2, our ABC affiliate, used to run a movie on Saturday nights. The movie they ran this night was a movie called Monstrosity, or the Atomic Brain is the other title to it. And I was probably all of about 6 years old. Daddy would let me stay up and watch these because he watched it. They didn't bother him. And in this one sequence in the film, none of the movie scared me. It just made me hype up a little bit, except for one scene where this woman who was part cat clawed this other woman's face. And for some reason, that terrified me so badly. The following weekend, Dad was like, well, it won't bother you this weekend. And they ran Screaming Skull. And if you've seen the Screaming Skull, you know there's a pond in the movie. And this person's running by a sidewalk thing. And there's like a ghost of a skull flying by. 6-year-old me freaked out completely because Mom and Dad were not in the room when the scene came up in the film. So 2 weeks in a row, same time. Yeah, I know it's a cheat, but still, freaked me out. That's it.
Did you sleep in your parents' bed with them that night?
No, I did sleep in the living room because for some reason after Screaming Skull, they ran a Porky Pig cartoon, and I just laid in the living room until I fell asleep. It freaked me out. So I was 6, you know, whatever.
Did you have nightmares?
With the woman that was part cat clawing who was supposed to be a cat clawing the other woman in the face, that gave me nightmares for days. But the Screaming Skull stuff just scared me to death because we were right next to a pond and there was like a sidewalk just like in the movie, and I was just like, oh, you know, freaked out. But yeah, that's kind of lame compared to what everybody else is going to say, so that's why I got it out of the way.
I think I would probably have to say there's probably 2
Yeah.
that scared me really bad. The first one,
My Little Pony.
how'd you know?
There
It
you
just
go.
freaks me out.
No wonder.
We went to the drive-in with my parents and saw In Cold Blood.
Oh, wow.
And that scared the living daylights out of me.
How old were you?
About 5.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, because we were afraid they were going to be people were going to be in the house, under your bed,
Oh yeah.
stuff like that.
That's really cool, that the fact it wasn't a horror movie, it was a crime movie,
Yeah.
and it scared the hell
And
out
it was
of
true.
you.
And it was true.
Yeah.
But the other one would have to be this movie that my mom was watching, and I watched it with her because it was on a Friday night, and my dad and one of my other brothers would go to the football games, and I would stay home with my mom, and we would watch like either movies or The Night Stalker because it was coming on Fridays.
Right.
And she was watching this movie called Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Ooh. Now, how old were you at this point?
Probably 7, maybe
Yeah,
8.
that'll mess you up. Yeah.
And I remember there was a scene about a pond, like somebody coming up out of a pond.
Yeah.
And then there was a scene, if I remember right, somebody like cut a mouse with a knife, and that creeped me out.
Oh wow.
Was it like a pet mouse or something somebody had, and they cut it in half or something with a knife? And I remember that scared me so bad.
Well, how did it affect you afterward?
I had nightmares about that.
Did it make you afraid to sleep alone?
No, not really, because me and Freddie at that point shared a room,
Yeah.
which he was not much help, because if he'd have seen it, he would have been just terrified.
Both of these choices are unconventional. The one is a true crime movie,
Yeah.
and the other is a very low-key atmosphere piece.
But it scared me so bad.
That's pretty sad, Rick.
That is pretty sad.
No, I'm impressed. I would have expected you to say something more
Along the lines of like Salem's Lot.
correct.
I would say after those two movies that scared me so bad,
Yeah.
the next one would be Salem's Lot, and the next one would be the Amityville Horror.
I got.
And not that it wasn't that
Yeah.
the movie itself was that scary. It's because I had read the book,
Yeah.
and the book scared the living daylights out of me. And then when the movie came out, you see all the stuff you read about,
Yeah.
and it made it that much worse.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I got gypped out of Salem's Lot. My dad wouldn't let me watch it, so I didn't get to see it till I was an adult. And I was like, when my buddy showed it to me, and I was like, oh wow, I got gypped. I never got to see it when I was a kid, you know.
Oh man, we used to take a shortcut, you know, where our house is and where the campground is. You know, you could cut through the woods and get to the campground like in half the time it'd take if you went by the road. And we used to cut through the woods, and we'd cut through the woods at night, you know. And after we saw Salem's Lot, that stopped. We went by the road, and then it was like, when you're up on Nashville Highway, you know, you'd always meet a car or two and have, you know, you'd have light. But once you hit that road we lived on, we started running and would run all the way to the house.
Why would you and your brothers be walking to a campground, a KOA campground at night?
Well, that's where all the kids out there used to hang out, because they had a pool, they had a game room, they had video games and stuff. And we'd go up there and play Space Invaders or go to the pool
That's very cool.
and go hang out, you know, with our friends out there. That was the only place we could go.
Your parents would allow you to get out at night and cross the highway?
Oh yeah, they didn't care.
I should say that was in the 1970s when things were different.
Yeah, late
Yeah.
70s.
It was a different time.
You know, you didn't worry. You know, parents really didn't worry about their kids all that much because, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, they knew we wasn't going to be getting in any trouble.
Right.
You didn't spy on campers.
No.
You peep through the windows or anything.
I remember that arcade building with the games in it.
Oh yeah, we used to.
That was
Man,
really
if I had,
cool.
I wished I had all the quarters back that I stuck in Space Invaders.
Wow. Oh,
It was like the first video game ever.
yeah.
You know, we were stuffing quarters in there so fast, and then we got that Atari for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And then it was like, oh, we don't have to throw quarters in the machine now. It's like,
Yep. So it's just the choices that you named off were really good. Speaking of good, Dave Goode. See what I did there?
Great segue there, Vance. I'm sure the audience is really impressed.
The show is called Roundtable because the table is round.
Yeah, if they could actually see it, they could
There
see
ain't
that
no
there's no
table
table here. But the scariest film that really scared me as a kid, and I'll tell you, it's still the scariest movie that I can remember, is Island of Lost Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just terrified me. You had a whole army of different monsters in it. But the scariest person in there is not the monster, it's the mad scientist that creates the monsters.
Oh yeah.
And it just has this terrifying ending when they get a hold of this person that they were treating like a god, that rose himself up to that level, that he was the god of this island. And they get their revenge at the end of it. Scared me then, scares me now.
I didn't see it till I saw it when I was a little kid, but I didn't understand it. When I saw it as an adult, I was like, "This is disturbing. It's one of the most disturbing films
There
I've
you
seen."
go. Not just scary, disturbing.
It's disturbing.
It is disturbing.
And especially the part for anybody who's listening to this, I don't care about spoilers, so I'm gonna say whatever I want. Anyway, there's like a sequence where this guy's on the table and he's wailing in pain as he's working on him.
No anesthesia.
No anesthesia. And it's just gut wrenching. And this movie's made in, what, 32 or something?
32? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to say 1932.
It was a pre-code horror film.
Yep.
Good gracious. If you ever get a chance to see it, that's.
And it's based on a story by H.G. Wells. And there are bits and pieces, there are pieces in that movie that weren't in the book. I'm just going to say Loda, the Panther Woman.
Yeah.
She's not in the book. But she's been in this movie's been the book has been adapted to the screen 3 times, and each time Loda, the Panther Woman, is in there. She's such a strong character, and she's such a strong part of what we think of when we think of this movie.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first saw it?
I think I can't be sure. I'm older now. I don't remember things the way I used to. I think I was sick. I didn't go into school, and they happened to be showing it on TV that morning, on some morning matinee show on TV, and it scared the heck out of me. So just imagine this. I'm watching this movie in the daytime, and it's scaring the heck out of me. And as I said, I watch it, it still scares me.
Now, have you guys seen this version of it from 32?
Yes.
David has. I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it. You need to see it.
And what do you think about it, David?
Disturbing is the operative word.
Yeah.
In fact, I can remember all through my probably 4th, 5th, 6th grade years having nightmares about mad scientists. And I don't know if it was because of that particular movie. I'm not sure when I saw the movie for the first time. But the idea of a mad scientist, a doctor who's out to harm you rather than help you,
Yeah.
has always been nightmare material for me. For some reason, it strikes some sort of archetypal, nerve in me, and I still have nightmares about, being in the grips of a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did the zombie film we made give you nightmares?
Not the one we made, but maybe I was, sort of.
I'm just gonna break in here. You guys made a zombie film?
Oh, just a little amateur thing. When we
Okay,
were
I just want to
teenagers.
know, was
Years
it old
ago.
school? Was it old school zombie?
It was
with
Romero,
voodoo?
Romero influenced.
Oh, so it's a science fiction zombie.
Yes.
Okay.
So, that's the next thing to ask right quick before we go into the next segment with your scary film is zombies, science or voodoo?
I'm old school. I like the voodoo. I like the black magic.
I'm with you on that. That's where I roll. White Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that movie, and I love the form of the zombies and they're just soulless wanderers, you know. It's eerie. It's eerie.
Yeah.
And I already know your answer, Rick.
I mean, I like them both, but
Which one do you prefer is the question.
the Romero zombies. There was Romero
You mean the
zombies.
science,
Yeah,
science fiction zombies?
It's all right, Ricky. I
I
mean,
mean,
some
nothing,
people
nothing
actually
scarier
like
than
the Beatles more than Elvis.
Oh yeah, or like
So I can accept what you.
like me and my little brother used to fight over all the time. Who was better, Alice Cooper or Kiss?
It's Alice Cooper. dude.
Of course, yeah, of course. I mean, you know,
Yeah, that's a much easier.
yeah, that's an easier
Yeah.
question, but you know, for Eddie. But yeah, I've probably had more nightmares about zombies.
Yeah, my dad used to have zombie nightmares.
Romero zombies.
I don't know. He said they were pulling his feet off. That was what his nightmare
That
was.
sounds like Romero's.
Yeah, that
No,
sounds like
just-
Romero's.
they were
Man.
like literally pulling his feet off his legs.
But I'm going to say, since it's Vance's dad, he'd have to be an old school zombie fan.
That would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Dad, he watched the old movies. He never watched
I
anything.
mean, wouldn't nothing creep you out any worse than having like, you know, one of your relatives that's died come back and trying to eat you?
Oh gosh, how many nightmares have you guys had like that? I had a dream. Not too long after my grandpa died, he come after me as a zombie. It was
Okay, so
freaky.
what's your favorite zombie movie then?
Oh,
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. I'm
And
gonna-
my guilty
Yeah.
pleasure would have to be
Return of the Living Dead.
Day of the Dead.
Day of the. Oh come on, that's a
And
good
then-
movie though. It's
And
solid.
then Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, you gotta put Return of the Living Dead somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's there. And Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland's there.
Yeah, true.
Even though they were comedies, they're funny.
No, the reason I brought that up was I was thinking there is a science fiction zombie film that I like, but most people consider it a vampire movie.
But which one is that?
Vincent Price in.
The Last Man on Earth.
There you
Oh,
go.
Right.
why didn't I think of that? Oh.
I mean, it is considered a vampire movie, but Romero himself was.
Influence.
yeah,
He was
good.
greatly influenced when he did his
That's
zombie
an
movies.
awesome movie. Oh,
Yeah. Even though Vincent Price, I've always thought was miscast as the lead.
It's
Have they remastered that?
Yes. Yes.
Because the copy I've got's not remastered. And I'd
I
like
think
to
you
see
can get it on Blu-ray now.
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Okay, yeah. I like it. It's a good movie. The Omega Man's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not as good as.
But
It's not as good as The Last Man on Earth.
Because Last Man on Earth is still the closest to the actual novella.
Right.
Which is really good. Have you read that, Vance?
No, I have not.
Oh, you
I was
need to
fixing to
read it.
ask you, do you have a copy of that?
I do have a copy.
All right, I'll swing by and get it and borrow it.
I'm going to throw out a movie called Death Dream that was made by Bob Clark in the early mid-70s to mid-70s.
Didn't we watch that one night?
I think we did.
Yeah.
It's about a young man who goes to Vietnam. He's drafted.
I've
And
seen that.
He's
You
killed.
were here, weren't you?
The
Was
parents
Marcelo
are told
here?
he's killed. And then the bus comes into town. It's like mid-America, small town. And he gets off the bus. And his parents and his sister and the community are so happy that he's returned, and they assume that it was a false report. And he's a little different, though. And as time goes on, he gets more and more quiet and strange, and
Didn't he get more funky looking too?
yes, and there's a little bit of vampirism in here because he seems to crave blood rather than flesh. And he kills a few people, and it's a very haunting, low-key, almost character study kind of movie. But to me, it may be one of the best cinematic statements about Vietnam ever made because of the strong metaphor that I think the movie, you know, the whole zombie thing represents. It's a great movie.
Now, I did read online somewhere that Romero was working on the last installment of his zombie movies.
They're actually going to end it.
Yes, it is going to end it.
Unlike The Walking Dead, which will probably continue until people stop being interested in it.
Which
That's what-
doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Exactly, yeah.
Which, I mean, I like it. It's good. I mean, and it's like a soap opera with zombies.
Right. Well, Dark Shadows
It was a soap opera with
with
vampires.
monsters, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really good. It's really well made. The special effects are really good.
But now, David, what is your film that
Scared you.
first thing out?
The first movie that just totally terrified me was Grave of the Vampire,
William Smith?
William Smith.
Yeah.
God, I love William Smith.
Yes.
I remember you talking about that.
I went to see it at the hometown theater here on a Friday night with my older cousin John. And the theater was filled with teenagers. And I was young, I was about 10. And I don't know that I'd ever been to a horror movie in the theater before. It was a double feature. The first movie was called Garden of the Dead. And it doesn't hold up too well. It's kind of a El Cheapo, Night of the Living Dead ripoff. But it worked for the audience, it worked for me at that time. And then Grave of the Vampire came on. Even though it was the same director, John Hayes, it's a much stronger film. And it's, this is from back in the days when vampires were particularly scary monsters.
Well, they should be.
Yes.
And this
They can
vampire,
sparkle in the daytime.
this vampire played by Michael Pataki, I think that was his name, was fierce and frightening, and the movie has lots of strange atmosphere, and it had several scenes that were really effective jump scares. And I remember the audience just went nuts over this movie, this teenage audience. The popcorn was flying.
Wow.
But at the same time, as a roller coaster ride, it sort of worked, but at the same time, it was just genuinely scary. And I had nightmares for a long time after that movie. But I'd like to mention one jump scare scene in it that still stands out to me as one of the best ever, along with the scene in Exorcist 3 in a hospital. If you've ever seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But this scene, the vampire is trying to get out of, it's near the beginning of the film, he's trying to get out of the sunlight. And he goes down into this woman's basement. And then it cuts to, I guess, as the sun's going down. And the lady who lives there apparently lives, or I think she may have a baby crying in the other room or something, but she's alone in her kitchen, she's listening to the radio, she's making supper, and she hears a sound from the basement. And we follow her, it's carefully built up, you know, for suspense. She goes down in the basement, she turns on the light, and she gets down there real good, and suddenly the light goes off.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a black screen. And we hear her shuffling with her matches. And we hear her scratching the match. And then all of a sudden the match flares up, and suddenly we see something again. The match is held up in front of her face, and staring at her about 3 inches on the other side of the match is the vampire. And I remember that, oh, my heart leapt. And
That's
the
awesome.
audience screamed. And to me, that's Hitchcockian in its mastery, that one particular scene. And there are 2 or 3 other scenes almost as good in terms of just brutal jump scares.
Now, who directed that?
A director named John Hayes, who had been doing low-budget films since, I think, the early 60s. He was a friend of Rue McClanahan. I think she played in a couple of his earlier movies when she was just a regular actress.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
She was a real golden girl. Thank
Do you know I saw a Golden Girls?
I'm going to hit Vance. I promise this tonight. If he made one more bad joke, Vance is about to die.
Speaking of the Golden Girls, me and Jenny was at Sam's the other day getting stuff for Abby's graduation party. Jenny started laughing, and I was behind her looking at some mess. I was like, "What are you laughing at?" And she pointed at the bottom over there where the books were and everything. In the section of the coloring books,
Yes.
they have a Golden Girls coloring book.
And you bought it.
No, I didn't buy it. And they have Golden Girls pop vinyl figures like that little creature from the Black Lagoon one I got.
Did you buy them?
No, but Jenny wants them.
Get them for her. They're not really for Jenny. We already know.
Okay.
Now, what was you saying? Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to add a disclaimer to my Grave of the Vampire discussion. It's I've seen it several times, as you know, in recent years.
Does it hold up?
40 some odd years after the fact, And it doesn't completely hold up, no. It's quite low budget. Some of the scenes are directed in a strangely static way. But I think it still works, and I still would recommend it.
Okay, the thing I remember most about it, like you were saying, it does have some incredibly scary moments, but it also has one of the great fight scenes you'll ever see in a low-budget movie with William Smith and the actor that was playing.
The climactic moment.
Ooh.
Yes.
It's pretty darn violent. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head to compare it with would be Darker Than Amber, which also has a fight scene with William Smith, and that one is against Australian actor. You know, I'm thinking Robert. I'm older now.
The guy who's in
from The Birds.
The Birds.
Oh yeah. Robert Taylor. No,
Rod-
Not Robert Till.
Rod
dang
Taylor?
it.
Rod Till.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he and William Smith have a great fight in Darker Than Amber and in Grave of the Vampire, the climax of that movie.
And
Another
it's
fantastic fight scene.
son trying to kill father.
Yeah, that I didn't want to throw
I'm
out a
sorry.
spoiler, but no, it's fine. It's fine. Well, that's one of the great things about it. A vampire has the strength of 10 men, and he's going up against William Smith, who he does not realize is his half-human, half-vampire son.
Right.
So halfway during the fight, you know, dawns on him, who the hell is this guy that can go up against me? I'm a vampire. And he just straight out asks him, who are you? And he goes, I'm your son, you bastard.
That's it. I think I watched the movie over here with you.
I think we did, yes.
And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, at first I thought it was made for TV because it has that vibe.
Like you said, it's a low-budget film.
Yeah.
Now,
But it was
Rod
really
Taylor,
good.
is it the Rod Taylor that was in the Time Machine?
Yep,
Yes.
same Rod Teller.
And he was in Inglourious Bastards.
That's right.
Oh.
He played Churchill.
Yep.
He's since passed away.
And also in Inglourious Bastards, I didn't find this out till after I saw the movie, was Michael Myers. Not the slasher, but the Austin Powers and all this. And the reason I'm switching over to comedy, I'm going to tell my zombie film, and that is, my favorite zombie film is King of the Zombies with Mantan Moreland.
Okay.
I can watch that
Great
100
choice.
times over and over again. What other movie can you have Captain America, Mantan Moreland, battling a Bela Lugosi ripoff?
In case you people out there in the audience don't know, who was the actor that played Captain America?
Dick Purcell.
Right, in the serial Captain America.
Right, from
and
Republic,
he's more or less the hero in
Yeah.
King of the Zombies.
And
Actually, Manson Moreland is the star.
Yeah.
he owns the film. I mean,
Yeah.
for goodness sake. When they tried to do a sequel to it, it was not as funny, and Mantan Moreland took a back seat to the cast, who was flat as wallpaper.
And
Except
that's
for
why it wasn't.
John Carradine, yeah.
And that's why it wasn't.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
film's kind of hard to find.
Yeah. You got me a copy of it. You found a
Yes.
copy for
Fine.
it. Took
Mantan
forever.
Moreland, he's the one that bit the dust at the very first of Spider Baby.
Exactly.
Right,
If you
yes.
see Spider Baby, it's Mantan Moreland. And he was just brilliant. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't discuss this film because someone will get upset." I got to tell you, Mantan Moreland, this is his showpiece, and I can watch Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and then watch King of the Zombies, and it's the same kind of fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing hateful or anything like it. It's just a good comedy, horror, adventure film. The Zombie Master is, he played a bodybuilder in a silent movie. That's pretty much what he's known for before this.
No, he was the strong man
Strong
in
man.
the movie Freaks.
Right, Freaks, that's what it was, Freaks. And that was not a silent movie. I've had too much caffeine. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen.
But
Or maybe not
Vance,
enough.
I want to throw one out at you.
Sure.
Also a monogram zombie film,
Yes.
and once again, I'm getting old now. I can't. George Zucco, John Carradine, Bela Lugosi, Voodoo Man.
Oh, I love Voodoo Man. Okay, Voodoo Man is like, for me, Bela Lugosi's my favorite actor of all time. I cannot picture
We
another
can get
actor.
help for him, by the way. Folks.
Bela Lugosi's the only actor I know who can to play any role. The man has played Jesus Christ. He's played in Shakespeare productions. Good gracious, he's played vampires, grandpas, just anything they put him in, he can
And
do
he
it.
played a great manimal in Island of Lost Souls.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's the
Oh, yeah.
sayer of the law.
That's right.
What is the law? Are we not men?
Yes. Voodoo Man, if you have not seen it, there's a 7-minute sequence. Everyone else in the movie is just walking through it. Bela Lugosi comes on the set, everybody's like, we get a couple of bucks to this movie. Lugosi's like, I own this film. And he does. There's a 7-minute sequence, which
Yes.
I've told you about, and he comes in there and he's just like, his wife is dead. They're bringing her back to life and putting her inside of another woman's body. You see Lugosi going from upset to sad to joyous to exhilarated to crushed, all in 7 minutes. No other actor can do that. No other actor would even try to do that.
Particularly in a monogram cheapie.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of what they call has been referred to for years as the Monogram 9.
Yeah.
The 9 films that Bela Lugosi did for Monogram. And then we realized it's actually the Katzman 9 because he did 10 films for Monogram, but the ones that everybody remembers are the 9 he did that were produced by Jungle Sam Katzman.
What was the 10th, do you know? The one that was not produced by Katz.
Off the top of my head, couldn't do it.
And of course, he did several for PRC too, I
Oh
believe.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're avoiding the obvious. If we're going to talk about Lugosi and we're talking about zombies, we've got to talk about Plan 9.
Right.
I was thinking
Yeah.
White Zombie.
Oh, White Zombie, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
But no,
gracious.
Vince mentioned White Zombie
At the
earlier.
beginning,
Right,
yeah, just
right.
briefly though.
Yeah.
But if you're going to talk about Lugosi, you got to talk about White Zombie. That's the granddaddy of all zombie pigs.
Wasn't Plan 9 originally titled Zombies from Outer or Vampires from Outer Space? I think.
Something like that. They had
Yeah.
different titles.
Grave Robbers.
Grave
Grave
Robbers from
Robbers
Outer Space.
That was
Can't
what it
believe
was
I couldn't
originally
remember
titled.
that. Ed Wood was a unique, brilliant genius who had no money and had
No
even less-
discernible talent.
and even less time. He gets mad props for being a Marine, and he gets that, anybody who's listening who served, thank you for your service. And well, anyway, after he got out of the service, he went to school, and after school, he started making commercial films. Then from there, making movies. Unfortunately, he could never get the money together to do the films, etc., etc.
And thank God for that, because I don't think the films he would have made, if he had the
Money.
proper financial
They-
backing, would have been
They would
as
have been-
entertaining.
Right, they would have been slower paced, they would have been dragged out, and they wouldn't have been that rapid fire, fun, loose, sometimes making no sense at all.
Like there are Ed Wood movies that he's made that are actually conventional,
Yes.
and they are as boring as watching
Yes.
paint dry.
Like Jailbait.
Jailbait, Steve Reeves' first movie.
It's a good movie. It's like a movie you would see on a movie of the week. It has that vibe to it.
Well, it's a boring B movie.
Yes.
I'd call it. That's
That's a good
what
one,
it is.
yeah.
And it's called
B.
Jailbait.
Jailbait. And it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with Jailbait.
Right.
Not a bit. And I wish they had used a different title. Like, like,
My favorite part, what puts it over the top though, is as I said, it was Steve Reeves' first movie. Steve, no relation to George Reeves.
right.
1947, Mr. America. 1948, Mr. World. 1950, Mr. Universe.
And
Right, well, of course, everybody knows him as Hercules.
Right.
But the point is, you hire a bodybuilder to be in your movie, you want him to take off his shirt So for no reason whatsoever, he's at a colleague's house.
Yep.
And he decides he needs to shave, so
By
he
taking
takes
off
off
his shirt.
his shirt to shave.
More normal people
It's
put a
kind of
towel-
like, dude, kind of like with I'm having one of those
You can do it.
brain
You can do it.
lapses.
You got it.
Those brain lapses. Hank Garrett.
Yes.
There's a scene in one of the Car 54s
Yeah.
where they're trying to convince him to tell what's his name, Al Lewis, that it's not Thursday, that it's actually Friday, but it is Thursday. And they're
Yeah.
trying to get, and he's standing in front of a mirror in the restroom, and he's doing this, giving these bodybuilder poses. looking at
Right,
himself.
right.
And we got a well-built guy, so hey, give him a reason to flex.
Speaking of Hank Garrett, you met Hank Garrett recently.
Yes.
Tell me.
Well, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It was a Starbase 1552 Comics.
Where's that located?
That's in Franklin,
Franklin, what state?
Tennessee.
The
Thank you.
greenest state in the land of the free.
Thank you.
And he was there for a day with Dial Tone, because he did the voice for Dial Tone on the G.I. Joe comics. Cartoons, I mean.
Yeah.
And they had me draw a picture, for a print, special edition print.
Yeah.
She doesn't look happy.
I know. There's a cat hovering by my head, so
So I got to spend the day with him, which was really cool, which was fun.
yeah.
Got to hear a lot of stories, and the guy knows everybody.
Can you tell the audience your fear about doing the drawing and what?
Yeah, I was afraid he wasn't going to like it and going to give me the Robert Redford treatment, punch me in the nose and break my nose.
And if you don't know this story, look it up. It's a true story.
He punched Robert Redford in the nose?
Well, they were filming that fight scene for 3 Days of the Condor,
Oh.
and he accidentally drilled him one in the face and broke his nose.
Wow.
And you were afraid that if your drawing wasn't good enough,
He was
drill
gonna
you
drill
in
me
the-
And he
No,
was going to do
no.
it intentionally to
Yeah.
you.
He thought that was pretty funny.
Now, did you meet William Smith at
Yeah,
one
I
point?
met William Smith and his lovely wife Joanne at a one of those signing things, and geez Louise, he's still a solid guy. I mean, he's Big Bill Smith, king of the biker movies, the John Wayne of biker movies.
That's like Hank Garrett, he's 86 years old. He looks good. I hope if I get that old, I hope I look as good as he does.
I remember you said he was in real good shape when you met him.
He's
so
real,
you
real,
said the
good,
same
he's
too.
in real
Yeah.
good shape and funny. Oh, he was telling us all kind of stories that were hilarious.
Now, does he have a website?
He does have a website, and he has used my artwork on his Facebook page as his profile picture.
No, do you know the name of his website?
HankGarrett.com.
And I believe you got it right, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we heard the ding.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and wind it up tonight for Roundtable. Just want to thank everybody for being here. David Walker, Ricky Blalock, Dave Goode, and yours truly, Vance Capley. Thank you for listening to this. And if you like it, comment, share, and subscribe, etc., etc. Thanks for listening. Good night.
So long, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.